This is Math Lesson 87, Conversions. Um, so the lesson starts off with 4 measurements that the students are going to need to memorize. So I'm not going to go over them. They're in the lesson there at the beginning. But these are basically the ones that will be used throughout this lesson here. Another thing that I want to draw your attention to are the 3 steps. Students don't have to do this. Ultimately, we want them to be able to work it out in their head, and if they're able to do it without having to do these extra steps, that's fine, but this is kind of just the beginning stages if the student needs to do it. I also took the liberty of highlighting and circling key points for these questions. So the first question says, if an elephant weighs about 4 tons, how many pounds does an elephant weigh? So the big thing that the students want to focus on is knowing what the question is asking. So I highlighted what the question is asking for. We want to know how many pounds. And then obviously I circled the number that was given in every single one of these problems and started the problems off. So the student can set it up like this if they need to. Again, if they can work it out quickly in their head, that's absolutely fine. They can shortcut it too. But these are kind of the baby steps for it. So I wrote out the problem. 4 tons equals how many pounds? So we follow the steps up here, these 3 steps in the corner. Step number 1, how many pounds are in a ton? And of course we use that information from here. So 2,000 is our special number. So if we were working it out and we wanted to do it the slow way, we would say 2,000 pounds. Step 2, we determine whether we multiply or divide. Since we're going from tons to pounds, that's larger to smaller. Larger to smaller, we always multiply. And then step 3, we simply just work it out. So we've got the special number and the number here that we started off with, and we multiply that out. So step 3 is working it out. So I would generally try to look for shortcuts for the students, and I would set it up kind of backwards here, but it would look more like this. And so the students know if there are zeros, we can simply just bring those down and then multiply as usual. So 2 times 4 is all we have to do. We know that that's 8, so the final answer is 8,000 pounds. Moving on to the next problem, it says if a watermelon has a mass of 6 kilograms, so that's the number it gives us, so I circled that, what would the watermelon's mass be in grams? The question is asking grams, so we want our answer to show that we're trying to find grams. Of course, we go back to the 3 steps again. Step 1, we find the special number. Special number up here tells us 1,000 grams equal a kilogram. Step 2, we figure out whether we multiply or divide. So since we're going from kilograms to grams, that's larger to smaller again, we're going to multiply. And then step 3, we just simply work that out. So again, we're looking for shortcuts. We've got zeros, so I'm going to set it up this way. 6 on top times 1,000. We can simply bring down the zeros and multiply 1 times 6, which is 6. So the final answer, 6 kilograms equals 6,000 grams. We go to the next problem. It says 1/2 of a pound is how many ounces? So the number that it gave us was 1/2 of a pound. So we wrote that down here. It's asking for how many ounces. So we want to show that we're trying to find ounces. And again, we go through the 3 steps. Step 1, the special number, how many ounces are in a pound? We learn that that's 16. 16 ounces equal a pound. Step 2, multiply or divide. We're going from pounds to ounces. So again, that's larger to smaller, so we multiply. And then step 3, there are 2 different options we can do here. We can either actually show the fraction and say 1/2 times 16, or if it's easier, we can turn it into a division problem and just say 16 divided by 2. So whichever one is easier for you is completely fine to solve. Obviously, not having to work that out, that one's a simple one, so 16 divided by 2 is going to give us 8 ounces. Alright, got another problem here. Just a few more examples to take a look at. It says, if a pair of tennis shoes is about 1 kilogram, how many grams is 1 tennis shoe? Now this one's a little bit different. They kind of try to throw a curveball at you, but it says a pair of tennis shoes is 2 kilograms. So I would write that out. 2 shoes is 1 kilogram. So then one shoe, and this one's kind of just trying to figure out, oops, we're supposed to put that in grams. So 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams. Okay, so one shoe would be half a kilogram. We're kind of doing this one differently. Hopefully they'd be able to figure that one out a lot faster based on what this one is looking like. So we think half of 1,000. Two ways that we can do that. Again, we can either go half of 1,000, or we can go 1,000 divided by 2. So simple enough. We know that it eventually works out to be 500 grams. All right. Next question, how many ounces is equal to 10 pounds of potatoes? So this time the question kind of flipped things around, but it's asking for how many ounces, so we want to show that we're going to try to find ounces, since the question was asking about ounces. And the information gives us 10 pounds, so we set up the problem 10 pounds equals blank ounces, and again we do the 3 steps. So first of all, special number. There are 16 ounces in a pound. We're going from pounds to ounces, which is larger to smaller, so multiply. And then we set it up. We've got zeros, so we can work it out this way. 16 times 10. We can simply shortcut and bring down the 0. 1 times 6 is 6, and then 1 times 1 is 1. So final answer, 10 pounds equals 160 ounces. And then the final question, 16 tons is how many pounds? The question asks how many pounds, so we know that that's what we're going to need to answer. 16 tons is the information we're given, so we write that down at the beginning. And of course we go through, follow the 3 steps. So we're going from tons to pounds, so that makes our special number 2,000. 2,000 pounds make a ton. We're going from tons to pounds, that's larger to smaller, so we're going to multiply. And again, we've got a bunch of zeros, so we can shortcut this and set it up this way. Simply bring down the zeros, and then multiply. 2 times 6, of course, is 12, carry the 1. 2 times 1 plus 1, 3, so the final answer, 32,000 pounds. All right, hope that's helpful for you.